Hi, everyone. I'm Kelly Springer, owner of Kelly's Choice, and today we are talking about digestive health. Digestive health is the number one topic in nutrition right now because digestive health is affecting every single part of our body and our brain. So let's dive into it. When we're talking about digestive health, we're talking about 30 feet of digestion that comes from here to here. So think about how tall you are and think about 30 feet jammed up inside of you. That's a lot, right? So over all of that surface area, there's over 100 trillion bacterial cells that live on this 30 feet of digestive tract. Pretty amazing. So with 100 trillion bacterial cells, we are actually 10 times more bacterial cells than we are human cells. And these bacterial cells can weigh about 3 to 5 pounds. Also, in this digestive tract and over this surface area, this is where 70% of your immune function is located. 70%. So this is another reason why digestive health is talked about so readily, is because we just dealt with the pandemic. We're dealing now with flus and things like that. So by getting our digestive tracts healthier, we in return will be healthier. Also, something really neat to bring up is mental health, something that we're also dealing with right now. So, what we know is that 90% of your serotonin, or your happiness transmitter, is actually made in your digestive tract, not in the brain. There is a true gut to brain access, and through our central nervous system, that our gut bacteria are able to produce this serotonin and get that up to our brain. So again, if we have a diminished digestive ability and a lack of bacterial cells, then we will not be able to produce as much serotonin as needed to keep our brains working properly. Pretty cool. All right, so let's dive into all of this. And why are we talking about it? Well, 74% of Americans are dealing with some type of digestive issue. And this could be diarrhea, gas, bloating, abdominal pain. There's a whole host of different things that happen with digestion. But what we're finding is a lot of these digestive issues are coming from poor diets. There's a direct correlation. And this is a huge problem because this gut bacterial is beneficial to our health. This gut bacteria actually helps to make vitamins. Now, how would that be? Well, when we eat fiber-rich sources, those gut bacteria use that as their fuel, their energy. And when they break down that fiber, it actually creates vitamins for us, like B12, K2, B6, B5, B3, folate, and biotin. So it actually makes us vitamins. This gut bacteria also helps to absorb minerals, fight pathogens, digest food, metabolize drugs. It even influences your total body metabolism. And again, another reason why digestive health is being looked at so heavily is because the weight loss industry is so huge, billions of dollars spent with weight loss. So if we can affect this gut biome in certain ways, we can actually affect metabolism. Pretty amazing. So we have this symbiotic relationship with our gut bacteria. So basically, if they are not happy, we're not going to be happy. And if they're not healthy, we're not going to be healthy. So we need to understand that we need to feed these gut bacteria in a certain way. So to give you another visual of what this all kind of looks like, think about the Amazon rainforest. Think about how large and massive this Amazon rainforest is. It's huge. There's a west side, an east side, and between all of it, there's hundreds and thousands of bugs and plants and animals and everything that works in this relationship that comes together, basically just like our gut biome. So there's thousands of different types of gut bacteria that lives in this area. So we want to make sure that we are understanding that it's not just one tree or one bug. It's actually thousands of different bacteria that live in this gut biome. So what happens if we have something go haywire? And that's what's happening to 74% of these Americans. So what went wrong? Okay. So what could have gone wrong is, for instance, antibiotic, antibacteria. So when we take antibiotics, it wipes out some of our digestive bacteria. So think about that. Think about the Amazon rainforest. If you were to wipe out part of the rainforest, it's going to affect everything. It's going to affect the other plants and trees. It's going to affect the animals, right? So also poor diet. Think about if you didn't have any rain, all the rain stopped in the rainforest, some of those plants and trees and animals would die. The same with if we're not feeding this gut bacteria what it needs, then it's going to get out of whack. So I give this analogy. It's kind of fun, but think about how monkeys live in the rainforest, right? Monkeys are great. Monkeys are fun, great, awesome. But think about if the monkeys just started taking over the rainforest and taking over and taking over and taking over, it wouldn't be in the right balance, right? There'd be too many monkeys. Well, that is what's happening with our gut bacteria. Sometimes if we're not feeding it properly, our monkeys can take over. A certain type of bacteria takes over, and that's called an overgrowth of bacteria, SIBO, okay? Small intestinal overgrowth. That's what SIBO is. And when that happens, it can lead to a host of other problems. So in a lot of people, we may have too many monkeys. So hopefully you like that analogy, but that's going to like how we can actually impact our gut biome by what we eat and what we drink. So digestion works in multiple ways, and it starts first with chewing. And so this may seem very silly, but I am a very fast eater. So every time I do my mindful eating PowerPoint presentation, it reminds me of how fast and how little I chew. And if we're not chewing well and actually using our teeth to break down food, it puts stress onto our digestive tract. So we don't want to put stress on our digestive tract. So make sure you're chewing about 10 to 15 times per bite. A fun tip is put down your fork and knife in between bites. That's going to slow you down. Okay. Also, so then that food goes into our stomach acids come, and then the food goes into our small intestine. If those nutrients aren't broken down the right way, or if we have a lack of that gut bacteria or a mucosal layer where the bacteria lives, this is where we can get into issues that are called leaky gut. Now, what the heck is leaky gut? Leaky gut is when there's a lack of the mucosal layer from eating fiber and vitamin D. It's a lack of gut bacteria, and that's the barrier between the digestive tract and our bloodstream. So why is that important? Well, remember I said 70% of our immune system is housed in our gut. This is what I'm talking about. So if we lose this barrier between our digestive tract and our blood, things like gluten, a protein, can seep through, leaky gut, go through into our bloodstream, causing inflammation. Also, things like viruses and pathogens can seep through, also causing major problems. So this is where if we're not getting the right food, the right fiber sources, nutrients, vitamins in our diet, it can lead to these hosts of problems, including celiac disease, including leaky gut. And then in our large intestine, it can lead to IBS and Crohn's. So just recently I was doing a presentation and we were talking about autoimmune diseases. And I said, potentially with a healthier diet early on in life, we have the potential to not turn on the epigenetics for different autoimmunes. It's because we're having that inflammation response and also that immune system response that is triggering on that epigenetics to turn on that autoimmune. So with nutrition, we truly can reduce the amount of autoimmune responses. That's pretty powerful, right? Yes. So I came up with this analogy. It's my analogy, I should like coin it, my goldfish analogy. But I live in central New York, and almost everyone I know has had a goldfish at some point in their life, because you go to the New York State Fair, or you can go to a county fair, and you always can win these goldfish. The goldfish don't usually live very long, which is why I have this analogy, because our gut bacteria are very similar to what the goldfish need to stay alive. So the very first thing is fish food. Now, wonder how long when you buy that or you win that fish from the fair, when's the last time that fish has been fed? So this is where we're going to talk about the fish food for our gut bacteria. Also, water is very important for these fish and important for those gut bacteria, a low stress and low chemicals. So let's go through these 4 things. Okay, so goldfish need fish food to stay alive. So do our gut bacteria. The only food that our gut bacteria live on are fiber-rich foods. Now, right here, this is the problem. The standard American diet is very low in fiber-rich foods. Fiber comes from, as you can see here, comes from whole grains, chia, flaxseed, avocados, beans, cauliflower, asparagus, and nuts, and lots of other foods that are vegetables, fruits, and whole grains. Okay, so these are foods that contain fiber. Like I said, the gut bacteria take the fiber that we can't digest and they use it as energy. If we are not getting at least 5 to 10 grams of fiber per meal, we are not keeping our fish alive or not keeping our bacteria alive. We need to make sure there is fiber at each and every mealtime to replenish and keep our gut bacteria thriving. Okay. Now, the average American is getting probably somewhere between 5 to 10 grams of fiber per day, if that. So you can see why this would cause a host of different problems. Plus, this fiber, when we eat it, it actually gets broken down into short chain fatty acids called butyrate, and butyrate and vitamin D work together to create that mucosa layer. So there's multiple reasons for this fiber in our diet. So make sure that you are getting, and you can work with a registered dietitian. Definitely reach out to us at kellyschoice.org. We can help you with your diet to start including these fiber-rich sources. All right, so getting into hydration. As you all know, goldfish need water to survive, right? They do not survive outside of water. Well, the same goes with our gut bacteria. We want to make sure we're having plenty of hydration so they can thrive and move around. If they are dehydrated, it puts them into a stressful event and they potentially would not be able to move or survive. So we want to make sure that we're getting in at least 64 to 70 ounces of fluid a day, hopefully not sweetened beverages. So making sure that we're getting in hydration to help these bacteria be able to thrive and move around, and also to allow substances to move through more easily. All right, so getting into stress, and we definitely have had a lot of stress in this past 2 years, and still there's a lot around us right now. We want to make sure that we're keeping that stress level as low as possible. So think about the last really stressful event. Think about if you had to give a presentation, or you went through divorce, or you had a move, or you had a death in the family. You can feel that stress in your gut, right? You can feel it there. Those gut bacteria are directly affected by that stress. So we want to make sure that we're doing things to reduce that stress level. And it could be as simple as taking some deep breaths of air. I know it sounds so simple, but just breathing oxygen will help bring down that stressful event. Drinking water, we just talked about hydration, will help bring down those hormones and bring down that stress. Also doing some exercise, movement, talking with friends, finding some stress reducing activities that are truly going to help you manage that stress level. Also getting enough sleep. A lack of sleep can induce stress response as well. So all of those factors are going to influence these gut bacteria. And then getting into our last one, these chemicals are wreaking havoc on that digestive tract. So think about if you were to put chemicals into the fish bowl, what would happen to the fish? Not good, right? So we want to make sure we're eating real food. At Kelly's Choice, our tagline is real people promoting real food. Stay away from chemicals Anything that you look on a label and you don't know what it is, stay away. Okay. There's a lot of foods right now that look seemingly healthy. Even plant-based foods now are coming out with a lot of different chemicals in them. So be a smart consumer. If you don't know what it is, it's probably not a real food. Okay. So definitely stay away from chemicals. So we're going to feed our gut bacteria the fiber-rich sources that they need, give it enough hydration, reduce stress levels, and stay away from chemicals in our food supply. That is my goldfish analogy, which I'm very proud of. So the other thing that we always talk about in nutrition, since I started in 1997, was making sure that we reduce high fat foods and sugar foods. Okay, so why? So we always knew nutritionally not so great. But now, because of the research in digestive health, we know even more now why. So when we eat simple sugars, it actually can starve out our gut bacteria because it doesn't contain fiber. So if you're not feeding the gut bacteria what they need to actually survive on, and you're eating just sugar-laden foods, you could starve out our gut bacteria. Not good. So we want to make sure we're getting complex carbohydrates that have a fiber-rich source. So carbs aren't bad, just the carbs that are not, that are simple sugars that do not contain fiber. All right, so what's the deal with fat? Well, mostly when we're talking about fat, we're talking about fried foods, really high dense foods that contain saturated fat and trans fat. They can actually slow down digestion and they can cause inflammation. This is not the same as healthy fats like our extra virgin olive oil, nuts, seeds, and avocados. So again, fats kind of are demonized, just like carbs. No, that's not the case. It's these trans fats and saturated fats that are causing some inflammation and slowing down that digestive process. So fats are good in the way of mono and polyunsaturated, and the same with our complex carbohydrates. So again, big nutrition lessons here, but basically we want to make sure that we are back again to eating real food. So in nutrition, we talk about all of these words, and two of them that are talked about a lot are prebiotics and probiotics. So there's even a new one that just got coined. It's called postbiotic. And you're probably hearing it for the first time with me because I just learned about it last week at Expo West in California. So postbiotics are going to be coming out more. We'll do a whole talk on that of what they are and how they actually work. But let's talk about prebiotics and probiotics. What are they? Well, probiotics are live cultures. Probiotics are foods that have been fermented and they have live bacteria. Prebiotics are fiber-rich sources. Prebiotics feed the live bacteria. So let's take a look at see what these are. So when we're looking at the list of prebiotic foods, as you can see, these are all just foods with fiber: asparagus, bananas, onions, garlic, cabbage, beans, legumes, bran, artichokes, leeks, vegetable roots, apples. These are all foods that contain fiber. These fiber-rich foods help keep the probiotics, the live cultures, alive. So when we talk about probiotics, these are foods that have been fermented. So if you look at kefir, can either start from goat milk, cow's milk. It could also start from a plant-based like coconut, and they add a yeast ball, a kefir starter, which what happens is that kefir starter goes in and it eats up all the lactose or the sugar. And then it creates the live bacteria. So kefir has 12 live and active cultures. So that is good to ingest because those good live cultures help to replace basically the fish that are in our digestive tract. Okay. So making sure that we have fermented foods in our diet is going to help replenish that gut biome. Now, every single country around the world besides the US has their certain products that they use. For instance, kimchi in South Korea is used in almost every single meal. It's something like the average South Korean eats about 500 pounds of kimchi per year. Crazy statistic, right? So also like in the European countries, kefir and sauerkraut are used at almost every meal. When I went to India, what I noticed was they had fermented pickles, not necessarily like our kind of pickles, but like they're fermented vegetables. They also at almost every single meal had some type of fermented dairy product like yogurt. So it's interesting that we've gotten away from probiotic foods. I think as we got into like this sterilized environment and also prepackaged things. So you can try out any of these types of probiotics to help replenish that gut bacteria. So there's lots of ways to incorporate it. You can throw tempeh into your stir fry, have a dollop of sauerkraut, have some miso soup, some kimchi fried rice packets, or also have some kombucha. We just found out a great product for kombucha is called Health Aid. We got to try it at the show. It was delicious. So I absolutely loved it. So if you don't feel like you're getting enough probiotic supplements or probiotics in your life, you can take a supplement. Again, supplements should be used when you're not getting it in your diet. So I'm not big on tons and tons of supplements, but there's some really great supplements out there that can truly help boost up that probiotic. Okay. So you can look at a whole bunch of different ones. Just make sure you're mixing it up, because in the Amazon rainforest, you wouldn't just want to replace with one type of tree. You'd want to replace with all different types, right? So with your probiotics, each month, just switch it up the different types of bacteria that you're going to get. Okay. Remember to eat mindfully, and then definitely keep a routine. So getting into some bad habits, liquor and coffee. It always comes up. Should we be having liquor or coffee? Well, in small amounts, liquor and coffee have actually been found to be beneficial. The actual ethanol that's in different types of liquor has been proven to actually lower blood pressure and have a good effect if have the right amount, that 5 to 10 ounces. Not drinking the whole bottle of wine, but having about that 5 to 10 ounces. And also, like with wine, for instance, there is some antioxidants. Same with coffee. Getting 8 to 16 ounces of coffee a day has been proven to be beneficial, can stimulate that digestive tract, also has a lot of antioxidants, so they can be good. But always think about the fish. If you dumped a whole bottle of vodka into the fish bowl, what's going to happen? Same with coffee. So everything in moderation, definitely cigarettes, skip the cigarettes. But this is where these types of things can affect that gut biome. So exercise helps keep foods moving through the digestive system and reducing constipation. So we want to keep things moving through so we decrease inflammation. Also, if we keep things moving through, you're less likely to develop something like diverticulitis. So we want to make sure that we're keeping things moving, and exercising can help keep it going and also maintaining that healthy weight. So in summary, your gut is an entire universe and it directly impacts your overall health. So make sure you're meeting those fiber requirements. You want to make sure that you are getting at least 5 to 10 grams of fiber per meal. Avoid artificial sweeteners. Try out some really awesome fermented products today. They're so delicious. And then definitely get in some exercise and meditation. So your take-home challenge today is to work on getting enough water. Try to do 20 ounces in the morning, 20 ounces at lunch, 10 ounces at snack, and 20 ounces at dinner. That's going to give you 70 ounces. That's going to help keep that gut bacteria being able to move and thrive. And it's also going to help the fiber go through the system as well. Okay, so try to get enough water and fiber. And then also you can try your kefir, kombucha, kimchi. Someone I just did this presentation for, they're like, all K's, it's so fun. So you can remember Kelly, and you can remember kefir, kombucha, and kimchi. So these are all great fermented foods that are going to help that gut biome. And also if you drink diet sodas or artificial sweetened things, try cutting them out this week. Okay. So definitely go to kellyschoice.org. Please follow us on social media at kellyschoice_nutrition. We have tons of fun things coming up. So I just hope that you all enjoyed today's presentation and got a lot from it. Definitely reach out to us at kellyschoice.org to schedule a private practice session with us. Thank you so much and have a wonderful day.